Okay, this is now Dr. William Sunstein of NSPC Brain and Spine Surgery, and welcome to our seventh podcast of the Spine Bro.
I'm Dr. Richard Ian from Island Spine and Sports. I can't believe it's number 7. That's my lucky number.
All right, well, let's hope today goes as well as as expected. Then, for that reason.
Well, today we're in for a special guest.
I'm so happy to actually have another patient to actually come and discuss with us his whole experience.
Well, we have one of New York's finest.
Absolutely.
New York City policeman. Originally worked in Brooklyn and now is in headquarters. Has an illustrious history. We'll get into that later during the podcast, but everything from a street cop to a detective. So Mike is a New York City cop.
Yes.
And he came to us. He was referred to me by another patient who we had operated on years ago for a different kind of a back injury, a lower back injury. Mike actually hurt his neck. Not clear. We'll get into what exactly happened with him and all the details.
Right, he'll tell us the whole story.
The story. So without further ado, Mike, just tell us where you're from, what your personal life is like.
Sure. So
and what happened to you, how it affected your life.
How did this whole thing come about to where you actually ended up basically having us work on you?
My name is Mike. I'm from Massapequa. Married. I have 3 kids.
A lot of New York City cops from Massapequa.
A lot of Massapequa.
Just breeds police officers.
Firefighters.
It's a good town.
Like Rockaway breeds firefighters.
Yep. It's true.
Well,
so I've been a cop for 13 years. I started in Manhattan. I went to Brooklyn, detective in Brooklyn, and I just recently, almost a year ago, went to headquarters. And I do some inside stuff there. It's better, it's different, slowed down a little bit. I'm home with my family more. I see my kids more. So I chose
a little safer in the office than on the street of Brooklyn.
Around, Right. So it's good. It's definitely got its pros.
What part of Brooklyn did you work in?
I was in Brownsville, East New York.
So like
it's a rough neighborhood.
Yeah, it was
rough there,
Yeah.
It's got
some busy, But it was the best time I had in my whole career. I met a lot of good guys there. But
so how old are you now?
I'm 38.
38.
So
you really started as a youngster.
I was there when about 29. Yeah, I started there.
Okay.
I was in Manhattan before that. Lower East Side. It was good. And then
and you were doing fine. You had a normal career.
Yeah, normal
and
career.
And then when did your symptoms start? What were your symptoms?
So it's funny. So about 5 or 6 years ago, I was leaving work in Brooklyn. I was crossing the street. And I had the right of way, and the lady, it's about 1:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, the lady blows the light and hits me. She sends me, 10 feet. I was pretty much knocked out.
It's a police officer.
Yeah, I was in a suit and tie. I was leaving, I was almost at the end of my tour. I had a few minutes left. I was going to my car, getting stuff ready to go home.
Plain clothes?
I was, suit and tie, yep. I was a detective. I was a detective at the time. I still am, but that's when I got promoted. She hits me. I wake up. She hit me so hard that my suit pants ripped from my ankle to my hip.
Wow.
I don't know how. They just brand new. I'll never forget.
You were in the car. You weren't a pedestrian.
No, I was a pedestrian.
You were a pedestrian.
Pedestrian struck.
Okay, you were a pedestrian struck by a car. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I woke up it was right outside the precinct. There were cops all around me. I woke up in a neck brace on my way to Kings County Hospital.
Oh.
From there, they did a CAT scan.
So Kings County is the level 1 trauma center in Brooklyn. It's a great hospital for severe trauma.
Yeah, that's where they take all cops.
And all cops go there, sure.
They take us all to Kings County. They didn't know this. They didn't know how bad it was because they ended up contacting my wife, my brother, who was a cop in the city at the time, and they ended up meeting them at the Jackie. They brought them. They escorted them to the hospital.
What's the Jackie?
The Jackie Robinson.
Oh, okay.
It's right off the Jackie Robinson. So anyway, I wake up and I'm at the hospital. I wake up. They bring me to the hospital, and
Pretty scary.
I was but you know what? I walked out of there.
Were you having any symptoms?
No,
in your arms
nothing.
And you went back to your normal job,
Right,
and you went back to your normal function.
They told me I was lucky because I was so lax at the time that I kind of just went with it. I had back spasms. I went to physical therapy for, about 2 months after that. I went back to the hospital because I was getting back spasms, but never really had any crazy back pain or neck pain. So now we fast forward, and for all those years, nothing bothered me. I went to about So let's say from the day of surgery, about 2 months earlier, I take the train to work. So I have to walk about 3 or 4 city blocks. And I take the train with my partner, and I was always like, man, my legs are killing me. Like, I don't know what it is. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, they're just like tired. I got achy feeling in my legs.
There's a heaviness in your legs?
Heaviness.
They feel numb too or weak?
No numbness, just weak and heavy.
Did you feel like you were off balance at all?
Not really. Just achy and tired. And I didn't say anything. I just figured I'm tired. I'm always running around with the kids, sports, and, you know.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
3 kids.
And I just thought nothing of it. And I didn't say anything to my wife or anybody because I just thought I was just tired. Then about a month later, or not, about 2 weeks before I saw you, a week before I saw you, I was late for the train. I had to run to the train. So I run to the train, and when I began to run, I felt like I couldn't move my legs.
Oh my God.
I mean, what is this? So
Were your arms okay at that time?
my arms are fine.
Frightening?
It was just my legs.
Frightening.
So I was like, there's something wrong with me. I get on the train, and I felt like I just got hit by a bus. And then I remember,
you had pain?
It's just in like, my whole body was just tired. My whole entire body. My legs were aching. And I remember texting my wife. I'm like, I think I need to see a doctor. So she's like, what are you talking about? So I tell her, she's like, all right, we'll see a doctor. The next day I wake up, it was like I ran a marathon. And it like felt like my lower half was just like shutting down. It was a weird feeling. And I'm like, there's definitely something wrong with me.
Were you able to go to the bathroom okay?
I went to the bathroom. It was just my legs. I couldn't walk. I'm in the kitchen that night, and I'm getting something ready for the kids, and my legs just buckle.
Huh.
And my wife like saw that, and she freaked out. And she's like, why didn't you tell me this? And I just thought it was nothing.
You did tell her.
Yeah.
Well,
she's like, she just thought you were like,
well, usually men minimize their symptoms.
I figured out, like I said, I was tired. It's been going on. I'm like, I'll be fine.
He's a tough guy. He's a cop. He doesn't want to.
He told her, she just like went on with her day.
People think they have like COVID side effects. They're feeling fatigued and things like that. You know, I mean, who knows what's going on? It's actually an unusual presentation.
What's interesting is that his symptoms are really weighted on his legs, not even in
initially, yeah.
Just my legs.
Initially, yeah.
So they buckle. So she's like, we got to go to the hospital. I'm like, we're not going to the hospital. We'll go tomorrow. Like, it's late. I'm fine. And then I woke up that next day, and that's when my arms started to ache.
Wow.
No tingling, no numbness, just achy arms. And I was like, now I'm thinking in my head, I worked with a guy that got Guillain-Barré.
Guillain-Barré.
Yeah.
Guillain-Barré. And I was walking like him. I was complaining like him.
It's a terrible disease,
Guillain-Barré. That was probably
I was like,
what
here
was
we
going
go.
on.
Yeah, that's in my mind.
Want to tell the studio audience what Guillain-Barré is?
Well, it's like
a post-viral type of a syndrome where you get paralysis.
You get demyelination of the nerves, and
sometimes it happens after a vaccination or a flu-like syndrome, and you start to get proximal weakness, and it can lead to
it's like your body's attacking it's like
motor nerves
in a sort of way like MS, in a way, but your body's attacking the nerves, and that's why you're get these acute sort of paralysis. And
my grandfather had it. He almost died from it.
And it's actually usually a presentation with ascending paralysis, where it usually begins in the distal or the lower part and goes up. So it was exactly the way you're kind of like almost presenting.
Right. So I was in panic mode.
It's very scary, yeah.
Were you having any neck pain at this time? Or
No, I never ever had neck pain.
This terrible,
it was like
progressive, tired,
lower extremity, then progressed to upper extremity.
Yep.
So I go to we go to the ER.
You went to Winthrop.
I bet they thought it was Guillain-Barré initially.
They did.
Too. They probably started infusing you already.
They admitted me.
Well, they did multiple scans. They scanned his entire brain, his spine.
It's like they probably started with that
So
idea.
about 8 hours of like poking me and like questioning. Then they thought, it was not that. Then they're thinking MS because my uncle has MS.
Did they do reflexes?
They did reflexes, and I was like all over.
Because usually usually with the Guillain-Barré, you lose the reflexes.
That's what they said. That's why.
But you were hyper-reflexive.
I was hyper.
But that was the telltale.
So hyper-reflexive is a sign of cord compression.
Exactly.
So after 8 hours, the one doctor that was seeing, she's like, I don't know what it is. And she's like, can you get up, show me your walk, show me your gait. And when I thought about walking normal, I could do it. It was hard to explain. I'm like, I can't explain to you the feeling, because if I'm going to get up and walk, I'm going to tell myself I'm going to do it, it's going to be fine.
Did you feel like your legs were disconnected from your body?
Right, like I had to think about it. I had to think about
walking, and that's something you don't think about. It's something that's ingrained in your in your life. I was
trying to explain that to them, and they were kind of like, I don't know. Finally, they're like, listen, we're going to do an MRI of your back. I was like, I don't have back pain. They're like, well, we got to rule it out. We don't know what else it is. So
They did the whole spine.
They started with the lower spine, or they went right to the whole spinal.
Yeah, I don't
all the
know
They did all three. They did cervical, thoracic, and lumbar. Yeah.
So I remember coming out of the MRI machine, and the
Brain
technician's like, "Hey, listen, do you have neck pain?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Why?" Right away, I'm like, "Oh no." He said, "No, the doctor's going to talk to you." So I'm like, "Oh man, what's going on?"
Yeah, technicians are told, "No, don't be a."
Yeah.
Although some of the good technicians are like early radiologists.
Oh yeah,
I know they have a lot of experience.
You always ask the technician what's going on because they oftentimes will know more than anybody.
Yeah,
they see.
He knew right away. I could tell the way he said it.
Yeah.
So I get back and I was like, "How'd it go?" I'm like, "I think there's something wrong," and I tell her, and then that's when the doctor.
So she's freaking out now.
Yeah, the doctors came over and he was like, "Listen," and then he tells me, "You have your herniated disc in your neck," and he's like, "Do you have any back pain or neck pain?" I said, "I don't have a single ounce." They're like, "All right, we're going to admit you." So they admit me. And then
I think they started you on IV steroids.
Yes, and
you were seen by
steroids.
You were seen by a surgeon who recommended
surgery,
urgent surgery.
Right, and it was like 3 a.m. and went through. My wife's home. I'm sitting there. He's like, "I think we need to do surgery." I'm like, "I don't want to do anything yet. Like, you gotta have a little bit of time to basically.
You gotta digest this.
Yeah, I'm like,
it's a life-changing thing.
I'm 30-something years old. I'm like, he's telling me that he's gonna do back surgery. I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So,
what are you crazy?
I'm like, no. So he ended up giving me the steroids, and that's when I started, researching, and that's how I came across.
Right, and you came through us through the other patient of mine who we had operated on. I guess about 10 years ago, and he was somehow he was a customer of your family in the pork store.
Yes, my in-laws own A&S pork store in Severius.
I love the way they call it the pork store.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because like all the good things that are in there that are made of pork.
It's an Italian thing, like
sausage.
Yeah,
love sausage.
I mean, what was that? The Sopranos. They had the pork store.
That's right. I love the way they talk about it. That's a real Italian. All right.
Yeah, that's good.
So how long before we did the surgery were you being told you need spine surgery? How long was this interval?
I think it was
about within a week.
Yeah,
it was about a week. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it was about a week, and then we were supposed to go further. It was supposed to be on a Friday, and my symptoms after I saw the Dr. Bean, my symptoms got worse, and that weekend my hands were completely numb.
That's just
he was rapidly progressing. So we really pushed, and we were contemplating having him go to the emergency room and try to do it emergently, but that never works out well.
Right,
because usually when you go to the emergency room, you get and timing of an operation is
you want to do it early in the morning in the right conditions,
case.
The right team. That's what you want to have. The best,
you want everybody to be as best as possible,
especially for a young man. Now you want
to put up the films?
Yeah, let's put the films because I think that we should talk about this a little bit more in depth because this is a very interesting presentation.
Yeah, we can put up the MRI of the sagittal.
And oftentimes, people with cervical spine of any pathology, whether it's arthritis, herniated disc, oftentimes do not have to have a presentation of neck pain. Like high blood pressure, it's almost like what we call the silent killer in a way because it can manifest purely just with symptoms of your extremities, your limbs, numbness, heaviness, the way you're describing it, and it can be in different types of courses. It can be a slow, progressive course or a rapid course, the way what course you had, which is most concerning, especially in a young person. So that's when you have to obviously do something about it.
So this is the MRI that scared the MRI technician. And what you see here, we call this a sagittal series. It's a T2 weighted image, and it's very nicely numbered C2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then the thoracic spine begins at T1. At the C5, C6 level, there's a protrusion of the disc, which we call a disc herniation. And if you look carefully at the spinal cord is not the dark gray that we normally see, but it has white in it.
What is that white?
And the white is like we call it myelomalacia or a cord signal change.
Myelo means spinal cord.
And malacia means diseased. So it's a diseased spinal cord.
It's like a scar of the spinal cord. So it usually indicates now sometimes you can't tell, but whether if it's acute or not, sometimes it's hard to tell. Whether it's an acute injury can show up like what we call a contusion, but he didn't really have a trauma acutely. It was that accident you had was 5 years ago.
That was probably a red herring. I don't think that was anything.
That was probably not. But it may have started some sort of progression that propagated. But this is most likely chronic changes and just got to the limits where it started producing symptoms. So anyway, that's a C5-6, what we call a disc osteophyte, and it's causing compression of the spinal cord. And as you move your neck back and forth in a dynamic way, you're injuring your spinal cord.
So typically when somebody has a herniated disc in the neck, usually we see upper extremity symptoms first and then lower extremity later. But in this case, probably because of the nature of the injury to the spinal cord, he had a lot of lower extremity complaints initially, with his feelings of heaviness in his legs, the difficulty walking, the feelings that he was unsteady. And those are all consistent with myelopathy, cervical myelopathy.
Cervical myelopathy means apathy, disease of, and a myelo means spinal cord. This, it's also important to remember that the organization of the nervous system, from the brain down, the fibers that supply the lower extremities have to go down through the neck first.
Right. So anything below that level can be affected.
So
you can get upper extremities, you can get lower extremities.
People can get present exactly like this with the depends on how the spinal cord is reacting, and you had a progressive presentation of lower extremity weakness and then arm weakness,
which is like the radiculopathy component of it.
So and the white in the canal there is the fluid. So T2 weighted image, the fluid is white.
Right. That is the fluid anterior to the spinal cord.
And basically he does not have white.
And there's white missing at the C5, C6. There's it's just protruding disc, herniated disc.
This is the most common level in which people also get disc herniations that we see. So
yeah, 5, 6, and 6, 7 are the most common.
So we had to. I think surgery was indicated.
Yeah, well, he got profoundly weak very quickly. When I saw him in the office, not only did he have the difficulty walking and the hyperreflexia, which is another sign of myelopathy, but he also had the numbness. He also had the numbness and the weakness in his upper extremities. I think your left hand was worse than the right, if my memory serves me correctly. The C6 nerve goes into the thumb, and he had numbness in that C6 distribution. But he was generalized weakness, and a lot of times people have difficulty with fine motor movements, like buttoning your shirt, or
difficulty using
putting
your
on
hands.
a tie, difficulty using your hands, difficulty writing,
opening a jar,
difficulty signing your name, difficulty, opening a jar. All those kind of fine motor activities become difficult.
Were those becoming difficult? You couldn't
write.
Couldn't do anything with
couldn't write.
Couldn't do your normal duties.
Yeah, couldn't.
Yeah,
it was quick. It was very, very quick.
Very rapidly progressing. So, no question, he was indicated.
Absolutely.
And we were fortunate. We played we have a policeman with a bad injury to his neck, and he needs to go as soon as possible. And we were able to get him into the OR within a week, which was a real blessing. We got 7 a.m. time.
Did you put him on steroids?
He was on a steroid pack. Yeah,
steroid pack.
And he remained on the steroid pack.
Did you feel like the steroids helped at all in any way before?
I don't know.
Once you have the degree of cord compression, I don't know. You just don't want it to get worse.
Well, that's why you put them on steroids, because steroids can reduce edema or swelling in the spinal cord, and that can help reduce symptoms.
I want to say maybe it did help, because that weekend, like in the hospital, I felt the next few days it didn't get worse, and then maybe towards the end of the steroids and to wear it off, that's when I really started feeling it.
Yeah,
because it was very, very quick.
So how did you feel about this whole thing going on, that you needed to have surgery after you spoke to Dr. Obedian?
I was shocked, because like I said, I didn't, besides the accident years ago, I've done nothing to, I didn't fall, get in an accident, hit my head or anything. If anything, I removed myself from a more dangerous area, and now I work at a desk all day. You know what I mean?
Right.
How does this happen? I don't know. And then it's like, okay, well, now you need the surgery. And then I kind of started looking into it. I was like, I'm 38 years old. I'm getting spine surgery, and I was worried about my job and my kids, and, it was kind of like
how were the people? What did the people at work say to you about this whole thing?
They didn't even believe it. They thought that was.
They thought you were just fake.
They thought I was trying to get some time off.
Yeah.
And you know.
You can't fake this.
Yeah, no, you couldn't fake this. And I remember I went back to work that one day after, I think that Monday, before surgery, it was going to be my last day, and they saw like the way I was walking and everything, and I had to leave. I was like, I can't. They're like, wow, you really, you don't look too good. And then I showed, I sent them pictures of my neck, and they were like, how did this happen? I was like, I don't know.
That's the whole thing. It doesn't have to be a trauma. It can just happen through gravity.
There can be some genetic component to it that,
you just develop this.
People have a weakness of their collagen and they get a herniated disc, or, there could be any number of reasons.
So the disc is like a jelly donut, and if you get a fissure in the donut part, you can get the jelly part can come out. In your case, it wasn't so much just a soft material. I think it was more. I'm just trying to remember.
He had a large soft component as well as a little bit of an osteophyte too.
Oftentimes, it's just it's hard material as well as it can be soft material. That's causing the compression and causing then secondary changes in the spinal cord and the symptoms you had. And why it progresses rapidly in some people and slow in other people, I don't know.
So, given his rapid progression, the MRI findings and the signal change, I didn't feel that like continued non-operative therapy was indicated. Like sending him for an epidural was, I think would be what's your thought on epidural steroid injections on somebody with cord compression like that? And
I think that people can get, if they have more of a chronic osteophyte, like a bone spur, and they have mostly just neck pain and some very mild symptoms, and it's more of a pain component and it's been going on for a long time, I would say that's more or less a reasonable,
but in somebody like
option.
this,
I'm not talking about somebody like this. I'm talking about what those people that could get the injections, the conservative management. But somebody who has rapidly progressive symptoms like that, with that degree of signal change within the spinal cord, because some people have that kind of disc but have no signal change like that. But you have a really big white spot there. So the spinal cord did not like that.
It was a massive herniation.
There was I don't think there was any role for an epidural injection, and I don't think there was any role for any physical therapy at that point because of the rapid progression neurologically. But some people don't have that course, and you can try and treat them and follow them closely. If they progress, then that's really an indication for surgery. But a lot of times patients remain stable and don't progress.
Right, and then I guess the choices are, if you opted for an operation, what operation would you do? You can do an anterior cervical discectomy and a fusion. You can do a disc replacement. You could do a posterior cervical. These are all ways of decompressing the spine. I think in this case, obviously the compression's all primarily coming from the front. You really can't do a discectomy from the back of the spinal cord like you can in the lower back because
you have the spinal cord there and you can't move the spinal cord over. Plus, the other advantage to this type of operation, if you go from the front to remove the disc, is it doesn't hurt very much, because you don't have to go through a lot of tissue to get down to where you have to go.
Right.
It's a very easy, very quick recovery.
It's actually, I remember your surgery because, and when Dr. Obedian, brought me into the case, for you, you're a big guy, and sometimes it's hard to expose sometimes a big guy because of the thickness. But you know what I've actually noticed over time is that some of the bigger people, we've had more of an easier time exposing for some reason, I don't know what it is, but your exposure was not difficult.
No, it was very smooth.
It went very smoothly. The case, we took out the disc, we decompressed the spinal cord the way we do it.
And we opted to do the fusion.
We opted to do the fusion.
I think one reason for that, especially in this case, as opposed to disc replacement, is that a lot of disc replacements are not made of titanium. They're made of stainless steel, cobalt, chrome. And then imaging afterwards becomes a problem. And in somebody who has signal change in their spinal cord, you want to have that option available of re-imaging the spinal cord and seeing if there's been improvement. We haven't done that on you yet because you had a dramatic improvement,
also
almost instantaneous.
Well, that was but the other thing also that the important point about that is that I've seen a lot of disc replacements in my office actually fuse afterward because you stimulate the bone above and below. And there's been papers where actually I've read a paper out of Germany where actually 60% of people actually autofuse despite placing a disc replacement. Now that may not be always everyone's experience or other studies, but I have seen that. And then what happens is that a neck segment can degenerate as well. You want to be able to evaluate that. And if you have what Dr. Bedian's saying regarding the imaging, you can't evaluate that properly. You have to end up doing a myelogram, which is a invasive test where you have to put dye into the back and everything like that.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to do that. So,
and the results are basically equivalent of a one-level ACDF versus a disc replacement.
They've never proven that the disc
superiority
replacement is better in terms of results. Perhaps you go back to work quicker. You actually can go back to function quicker. But in the end, they basically have not proven that the results are any significant difference.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of surgery. You had the fusion where we put I think we put a titanium cage in.
Yes, and we put a bone graft in the space
with a plate. And after the surgery we did, which takes about an hour and a half or so.
So describe your post-op. How did you wake up in the recovery room knowing that you were better, or did it take some time for you to feel like you were?
Well, that was my biggest concern, because I remember before surgery I asked you, am I gonna be back to normal? And you said I don't know.
You never want, as a spine surgeon, you never want to give somebody false hope.
Right. So
because you want to be like Amazon.
Right.
You don't know. It's because
you don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. You want
to central nervous system like the brain, so you don't know how well whether
how long will it take for you to recover.
Right. Well, because you don't know if it's the permanent damage. Number one, because neurons don't, nerve cells do not regenerate. So how much of your symptoms were mechanical compression? By relieving that mechanical compression, how much of that would give you that chance to recover? Versus if you had permanent damage, then taking off the mechanical may not give you the same kind of recovery.
Right. Also, you have a few things going for you. You're young, you're healthy, you're not diabetic.
Right.
Rapid progression.
And you had you didn't have symptoms for a very long period of time before we got to you. It wasn't like you were going on for a year before you finally came to the decision to have the operation. It was more a few weeks. And even though it was rapid progression, the MRI showed the myelopathy, the myelomalacia, I should say. Thank God you had a very rapid response and your symptoms cleared up very quickly and dramatically.
Did you notice something different?
Right when I woke up. And that was my biggest fear. The surgery, I was nervous. My fear was I need to get back, just for my career-wise, like I need to be back to normal. I cannot.
You have young kids. You've got a young wife.
I have
I think all this thing goes through your mind.
My whole world was like, what's going like.
And you weren't, and you didn't put enough time yet in the police force.
Right. I still have a few more years to go, so this is like a big I need to be better, and that was my biggest concern. And I went after I woke up. I remember I think you had or somebody called and asked how I was, and I was just coming out of anesthesia, and they were like, "Listen, how do you feel?" My wife kept asking me, the doctor's on the phone, "How do you feel? Do you feel normal?" And I'm like, I don't know, because I was still so
sedated.
Groggy.
I saw you in the recovery room initially. You were still a little groggy. So then about an hour later, I called back again saying, just check it on you, because I was, I'm just as anxious as you are to see how you're feeling and how you're doing. And
I remember saying, I think I'm all right, but I don't know. I don't know if it's the anesthesia. And then I guess a few hours later that night, I stood up and I was walking after PT came in. And I told my wife, I was like, I'm completely fine. Like, I'm back. I don't feel.
You don't have those feelings
Not
anymore.
A single feeling. Everything was gone.
The weakness in your legs was gone.
Weakness, numbness, arms, tired. Everything was completely gone.
All the signs of the core compression were gone quickly.
That was actually very good. Just a plug for Long Island, NYU Long Island, Langone, PT. They came in.
They came in right away.
So that's really good that they came in to do that. Actually,
they came in really.
Yeah, we get you in early.
That's one of the great things, being able to get a patient up and about. Quickly after surgery.
My wife's a big component. My wife, she's an occupational therapist.
Oh, really?
So she used to work at Winthrop, earlier in her career, and that was her biggest thing. She's like, we need to get PT, and then she's like, you need to get up, you need to walk, you need to move around. So she really pushed me to do all that, and it paid off.
That's fantastic. You just got up and started walking. And you're like,
just.
Did it? Now, were you in a collar initially?
Yes, they had me in a collar initially.
The collar's really more like just like a reminder that you had an operation.
Yeah, it was more like mental. I was like, don't take this thing off. Is my neck gonna fall?
Because sometimes the tendency is to do too much because you feel so good,
right?
And we want to kind of protect you, especially in the early stages.
You want to reduce extremes of
motion.
It's also, I think, good for people if they see somebody in a collar, they kind of avoid you.
Yeah. They don't bump you around so much.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's great. So and you stayed overnight in the hospital?
Stayed overnight.
And the next day you left?
And the next day I left, yeah.
Yeah, there's some push now to get people to go home the same day after a ACDF.
I think I personally think it's not such a great idea. I like keeping people in the hospital overnight just to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
Make sure everything's okay. We also have a drain in the neck.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid a blood vessel opens.
He's
up
a big guy.
Like you can't. Rapidly get a blood clot and not breathe. You want to be able to be in a hospital setting for that.
If something happens in the middle of the night, you don't have much time. You can obstruct your breathing. And that could be a big problem.
I agree.
We're more cautious, and even though it's annoying to be in the hospital for one night, I think it's worth it just to be on the safe side.
So after the hospital visit, you went home and
How's your scar look?
It looks good. It's pretty much.
You can barely see it.
Yeah, you can barely see it.
What are you going to tell people in the police force?
Believe me now.
You're going to tell people you should see the other guy.
That looks pretty good. It looks that redness will fade. And
that will go down over time. Yeah, it's a very cosmetic. We had Dr. Baldenhofer.
It's been how long now? It's been about
over 2 months.
2 months.
Now. Yes.
So what do you feel?
Completely normal.
Wow.
It was like January 21st around that time.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Now it's
hearing that kind of stuff.
Even like my work doctor.
27th.
My work doctor, because I have to go see them frequently. I see him once a month or once every 3 weeks.
They want to assess if you're ready to go back to work.
They want to just monitor, make sure everything fuses properly.
Yeah, the New York City Police Department's very they're very keen on seeing fusion before they let you go back to work. Especially as a street cop.
The rules are complete fusion or just evidence of fusion at that point?
I think evidence of fusion.
Because it usually takes about 3 months to start.
It can take up to a year to fully fuse.
It's bone's always healing. That's the whole thing. It's remodeling and things like that. So you've got some X-rays recently.
Yes.
How are they looking?
They look fantastic. In fact, I can pull them up if we want to take a break for a second. And I'll show you the X-rays.
Okay, yeah.
We were talking now about the post-operative course and how the X-rays look at this point after 2 months. And 2 months, the X-rays look pretty good, I'd say.
He's in good alignment. The hardware's in good position, and really the proof is in his symptoms. He regained all of his function back. There's no more numbness or weakness in the upper extremities.
Would you get a CAT scan at this point just to prove to the police force that he is fusing at this point?
A CAT scan has a lot of radiation.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't rush people to get a CAT scan
because it's hard sometimes with the metal to actually see the.
Sometimes it can be difficult.
Fusion, that's the problem.
The good thing now is that he's not a street cop anymore. He's in the office. And so they may be a little more lenient about.
There's not going to be as stringent in terms of letting you go back to work.
So I spoke with them about 2 weeks ago. They saw the X-ray. They like everything they see.
Is it by you showed your police?
Yeah, I have to show. Yeah, they're on top of it.
Is it an orthopedic surgeon or?
Yes.
Yes.
So I have a regular doctor, and then I have an orthopedic surgeon.
So sometimes the police surgeon is like an internist.
Right.
Yeah.
It's good he's an orthopedic surgeon at least.
So he said that
he's happy.
I'm considered limited right now.
Yeah, that's how we usually get you back, restricted. But,
so
your job is kind of restricted anyway. You're not really.
So luckily,
do you carry a gun to work now?
Well, because I'm restricted, I can't carry.
Carry a gun.
Right.
Okay.
So he said once it's fused, he goes, we'll put you back. He's like, usually I see it from anywhere from 6 to 9 months from surgery. We'll feel comfortable putting you back because once I go back, then I'm good.
They make you do that squeeze test with the gun to check your
check your grip strength.
I remember one of my patients was an officer, and he had to prove that he was able to squeeze the gun properly with some sort of some sort of test.
I don't know what they're gonna. He looked at me, my mobility, and like I said, the X-rays, and he's like, "Listen, I don't see any issues. Just gotta give you more time to heal."
Mobility. Talk about mobility. That's important.
Patients are often worried whenever you recommend a fusion. They're going to be, am I going to be stiff? Am I going to be able to turn my head?
Turn anything.
And the truth is that most of your motion comes from the upper part of your cervical spine, so from the occiput to C2.
That's right.
And since we didn't really touch those levels at all, your motion is actually surprisingly good, and it should stay that way forever. You theoretically you lose about 7% of your motion by doing a one-level ACDF, but it's not going to be noticeable.
Compensate for it. We've done 1, 2, even 3 levels. People actually really just don't notice a significant change in their.
You can go back to driving and all of your normal activities, right. And you don't need to be in a collar anymore. How long were you in the collar for?
Not long. It took
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, not even. I mean, when I was home, I had it off, and if I went out in the car,
Just to protect
put it
yourself.
on. Yeah, anytime I went out, about 2 weeks, I probably wore it.
Did you have any trouble swallowing or eating or with your speech afterwards?
No,
'Cause sometimes
I had like a sore
sometimes
throat
some people have
a few days.
you eat soft
Nothing
food.
crazy. No, it wasn't that bad. I mean,
You eat everything.
it felt that's not an issue.
It's not an issue. He has the pork store.
Yeah, that's never been an issue.
Yeah.
So sore throat, and I have the worst was sleeping. Like I found sleeping was
Couldn't get comfortable?
couldn't get, and it
You sleep on your
lasted.
stomach or your back? Or
My back.
You're a back sleeper.
And I have a bed that goes up. I inclined a little bit, but that was, I got to say, the longest.
Did you have any pain in between your shoulder blades after the surgery?
Yes.
That is a very common complaint people get initially.
You think it's from stretching the
That's what
It's kind of like
changing the dynamics a little bit of the neck?
I think it's referred pain from the disc space sometimes. Because people can sometimes manifest with a disc disease. They can have pain between their scapula. So that usually settles down in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I went to PT. That was physical therapy helped out huge because I'm still going, but the stretching and the massage and the stimulation, they said that the muscles and everything has to now adjust.
Were you taking a muscle relaxer too?
I was in the beginning. I was taking them,
But now not anymore.
I'm not taking them. But the sleeping was the worst. The sleeping for a while, it's just not getting comfortable.
Some people feel better sleeping in like a recliner.
Yeah, I've never understood that myself. But that's what they do.
I think it was by the end
more
of the
support
day.
of your head and
Right. I got to the point where some nights I'd sleep on the couch because I was able to put my head between the cushion and then my pillow, and just having that support took all the pressure away.
Yeah, and some people actually like sleeping with a collar, believe it or not.
I did that too.
Well, like a cervical pillow.
It's like a
it gives you support,
It keeps you from like hyperextending your neck or
right.
And extremes of motion.
But I tell patients that they want to take the collar off, they can take the collar off after this, while they sleep, because there's no, axial load on them while they're sleeping, they're flat.
Right.
I just think it was by the end of the day, by the end of the day, my neck was just tired. And then that's when all the pain would, it wasn't much pain. It was more, I felt like it was more muscular than anything. And no time did like my neck itself hurt. It was everything around it.
Right.
It was just strained. But
well, I mean, I'm just.
And you haven't any more recurrent symptoms?
Nothing. No. Thank
so you're
God.
glad you had the operation.
Yes, very. Thank God. Thank you.
Yeah, and we did
both,
it. I think we did it as expeditiously as possible in the optimal situation. So it worked out. You're a VIP. We love taking care of policemen.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
We owe a lot to you. I mean,
thank you guys.
I wish there were more of you guys actually, in the city.
Absolutely. I mean, more Long Island.
I love seeing every time I
County,
take the subway.
Suffolk County.
When I see a police officer there at the stop, I just feel so much better.
Thank you.
Yeah, especially in the subway.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, nowadays, right?
Yeah, they want us to take the subway more than driving in. Then they have to provide a police officer at every stop, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, it's got to get better.
It's got to get better. But anyway, I'm so pleased. I'm so happy. Even though I didn't meet you beforehand, I'm happy I got to help participate in your.
Thank you both very much.
Treatment,
yeah,
life-saving. It was scary.
This is what makes it all why we do this kind of thing.
Give thanks to John.
Yes.
Who got you to the right people at the right time.
Yep.
A lot of life is like that. It's just who you know and getting into the right people at the right time.
Yeah.
And things happen for a reason. So we were happy to be part of your story.
Yes, thank you.
And hopefully
we just continue to do well.
Yeah. And hopefully hopefully your friends don't ever need us, but if they do,
right. I got a doctor.
Yeah, we love taking care of police officers.
Yeah, that's
definitely
our favorite patient.
Absolutely.
I mean, we like all of our patients, but especially
the police officers,
firemen, ambulance
anybody
workers,
who works for the city,
healthcare workers. People. Those are the real heroes, in our opinion.
Absolutely.
They keep the city what it is, and they keep Long Island what it is. So we appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're happy.
I'm so happy you did great. Right, that's fantastic.
Thank you guys.
And how does your wife feel? She's an occupational therapist, so she's had a lot of experience, I'm sure, with physicians and with therapists and everything else.
Picking deciding with a doctor because we did our research. We looked up doctors. I went to other doctors. I think one or two other ones before I met you, and because that was her big thing. We need to pick the right.
It's really important. You know, it's kind of a partnership when you pick a position. You know, it's almost like you're married to that patient for life.
Yes, and when my wife was working. I came to you the first time with my mother-in-law.
That's right.
And
yeah, I remember that.
I remember walking out, and I was like, "No, we got to stick with him." You made us feel, like family. Like you actually were going to take care of us. You know, you took the time out to really go over it, the start to finish, the effects. Why do this? Why not do that? Where others were kind of just like, "This is what we're going to do." All right, call my secretary. We'll set it up, and
Yeah, no,
that was definitely.
Unfortunately, for some positions, it's kind of like a routine thing, and they don't realize that for that patient, it's the most major thing that's happening in their life ever.
Yeah, this is
and there's and you hear a lot of nightmarish stories about what can go wrong and what can happen, and it's really critical to have a good relationship with your physician, with your surgeon, and
this had to go right. Not only for my career, this had to go right. If this went wrong, then
for your life it had to go right.
You have young children, my whole entire world.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to hopefully have more children in the future, maybe.
Yeah.
And
no, I'm okay.
You're done. The factory's closed.
I'm good. No, took care of that.
What do you mean you don't want to be like me? You're good.
I got 4.
4 is a good number. It's tough, but it keeps you young.
It's tough so far. Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I think that really helps us is also we have a very, very good team in the OR at Winthrop. I'm still going to call it Winthrop because it's still, to me, Winthrop. But
it's hard to change that after.
But I mean, I think that having the same people and the right, you have the stuff we need, the right equipment. In the morning, we have a good monitoring company that monitors your nerves while we do the surgery to make sure what we're doing is safe.
Good nurses, good staff, good backup people.
We have plastic surgery. We have good reps. We have all these people, I think, that really make the experience optimal for the patient.
There are a lot of people who are part of the team.
Yeah, no, like I said, there's no complaints. Every time I called, someone called me back, called and checked on me, And
you're happy with the hospital too?
Yeah, the hospital's great.
I love working at that hospital, despite the fact that it's changed over to to now a new system and everything like that. We still have the same people,
right?
And I'm glad that that's the case.
Yeah, it's very quality people.
Yeah, it was. There's no complaints. Thank God. Thank you guys. Because
all right. Well, look.
Would you do
really
anything differently?
No, there's not. I wouldn't change a thing.
All right. Well,
it speaks for itself. He had a good outcome.
All right.
Which we're thrilled about.
Well, thank you again for coming there, Mike. Really appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We
and just basically good luck in everything.
Thank you.
In your life and
we'll see you in the office soon.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.